Okay, time is 18:31. So I'd like to open this meeting of the Planning Environment Committee. Housekeeping. Friends members to the public, if it's a fire alarm, it's not a drill. That means that you have to have a fire alarm, the fire exit, the way you came in, or just the end over there. Okay. Agenda item 25091, receive apologies for absence. No apologies?
No, not.
Okay. 25092, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary interest or non-pecuniary interest. Do any members have any interest in any of the items on the agenda?
No.
No. No? Okay. So agenda item 25093, the open forum. So comment and questions concerning items on the agenda may be put forward to the council by the public during this period. Matters which in the chair's view require debate and or discussion will be referred to the next committee council meeting as appropriate. Public forum restricts 15 minutes unless the chair allows otherwise. Would any members of the public like to raise any questions on any items?
Yes, can I have a... Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous. I'll do my best to be brief. Can I first of all thank you for letting me attend your meeting. It is important and it is appreciated by people where I live. My name is Harvey. I'm a resident of Hall Road. I think probably some of you may know me. I'm a member of the Humboldt Tennis Club, which is irrelevant, but the fact is I am a live member. I was a coach, I was a player, so I think you probably know me from there. My main concern tonight is to have a brief chat with you because about 3 weeks ago, just over, several of us, a number of us received this particular letter from the Cheshire East Planning Department about a proposal for number 23 Hall Road, which absolutely stunned us. We were absolutely taken back, shocked, amazed. The proposal was and is to pull down the bungalow next to me, and each cross over for a number of people, and erect another two-story building. We couldn't imagine, none of us could believe why a building was a perfectly respectable bungalow built at the same time as mine has to come down and replace it with a two-story. The feeling is that this is completely against the environment of where we live. What happened is a lot of everybody who received this letter corresponded or wrote by email, by letter to Cheshire East with objecting to this particular proposal. Now, I would like to express to you all, we're not against any development at all. Lots of the bungalows have had conservatories, porches, carports done, a lot of things. Some required planning permission, which was passed. We feel this is not outrageous, but it is strictly against the bungalow area of where we live. A lot of the bungalows are or have been purchased and lived in by retired people. One person, two persons. The bungalows are very small, but they're ideal for what we want. And to put up a two-story building is absolutely horrible. Now, on the estate where we live, you all know, people are a handful of people, is London Clean Estate. There are some detached houses. There are some of the, I think, on the dormer side, where it was in the roof, and a lot of bungalows, all built at the same time. But the bungalows are where the bungalows are. The private houses, the detached houses, are where they are, and the others. And this is what we cannot understand how anybody would want to do this to extremely nice area. As I say, we're not in any way a community which is anti-development. If it was a plot of land somewhere, not been used for ages, putting up 5, 6 houses, part of the fun. But this is not. But I have spoken also to my neighbours and friends. And if this should go ahead, we feel the disruption to the particular area will be great. But what I'd like to bear in mind is, will there be a lot of bungalows, a lot of elderly people? These people are, a lot of them have medical care, attention, some form of what have you. And this is like twice a day for some of them in the evenings. Also, a lot of their children come to look after, a lot of support vehicles, all sorts, you know. And I put this all together as really not wanting to see this happen. But I do stress we are not anti-building, not at all. But we just don't think this is really right.
Is the boat linked to your bungalow?
Yeah, yes, I've got a little bit more, Michael.
Are they all linked?
Yeah, this is a very. I've made notes here. I'm not following. Yes.
How will they remove that one?
The bungalows are all what we call linked bungalows.
Yeah, I thought.
With a link to the next door with carports.
Yeah.
And some of the carports have actually had doors put on to make it into an extra room. Right, no problem whatsoever.
How will they remove the bungalow without affecting yours?
Well, I don't know, but my roof covering my carport, my utility room, goes up against the next door wall, as indeed does the next one and the next one.
So it's a shared wall. So would they be removing your wall?
Well, if the walls, if they take the wall down, my roof comes down.
We'll leave any further discussion for the agenda item, but
Yeah.
I say thanks for coming. I know it's quite difficult to speak in front of a lot of people. We've seen a lot of, well, I've noticed a larger than usual amount of objections to this one from residents. So it's definitely a comment that we'll take into account when we decide on the matter.
I'm going to leave it to your meeting.
Right.
But I was looking through and found something about the Hanforth. Just it. That draws your attention. It's called the Hanforth Neighbourhood Plan, February 2018. I'm obviously sure you're all aware of this. But just looking through it one evening on my iPad, I got to section 5, I think it's 5.3, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The theme from this seemed to be that anything that is going to go up should have environmental approval from the council. And it appears that all developments for the building, landscape, etc., should conform to the local Cheshire East local plan, which is very much environmentally friendly. And it just says anything to do with landscapes, buildings should fit in with the environment.
Yeah.
And we feel this vote is not environmentally friendly. In closing, should it go ahead, I mean, I'd find somewhere else to live, because the bungalows are so close together, you wouldn't be able to sit there, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Anything, if it changes to something reasonable, not always objective to something reasonable, but what it is.
Yeah.
I hope I've done my best tonight to we're not anti, we're far from it. Far from it. But we are concerned about our neighbourhood and our environment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for your comments.
I hope I've come over okay, and if you want to ask me anything else.
We'll certainly take your comments into account. I think they're very valid points that you've raised.
Okay, I'm now going to depart and leave you to your evening. But can I thank you on behalf of everybody concerned for your time, for letting me be here, listening to me, and now it's time for me to shut up.
Yes,
Excuse me, you spent
thanks for your comments.
Yes, certainly.
how many objections?
We don't really know, because we know the amount of people who've got this.
Nine
I've got about 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But also, but
Nine. No.
But also, yeah,
Yeah.
there are people who, not necessarily directly involved, but have actually written about it. You know, so please, you know, I'm here. I mean, you know, am I okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, of
I
course.
hope
Yeah,
we're all right.
yeah, no, it's,
You know,
you,
and
go for it.
obviously respect whatever happens. It's your decisions like council.
That's a small.
Chair, may I address
Yes,
our
please.
visitor? Just to say that I'm sure many of us have every sympathy with you, but you have to realise that what this town council does is simply make recommendations to Cheshire East Council, and Cheshire East Council can just turn around and totally ignore them. We will do our best for our residents, but Cheshire East can.
Please, I appreciate what you're saying. You know, all I can stress is thank you for letting me be here. You know, any day, you know, we hope the decision goes but we're on payment. If it doesn't, again, thanks for listening.
Just before you go,
Sure.
if it was to go ahead, what would you want it to be done differently?
Well, we just don't think that in an area of complete bungalows, a two-story is right.
Yeah, we've got door bungalows, haven't we?
It does, you know,
Yeah, but isn't the door bungalow two-story? Yeah.
but they're all in one part. And when this estate was built, they were all built together like that. The bungalows were all built together. No bungalow, as far as I know, has done anything like that.
We'll move on to the main body of the meeting now. Thanks for your comments. It's very much
Yeah, all right.
appreciated.
I'll get saying if anybody, I'll go now and shut up.
There,
Chair,
yeah.
with your permission, and I shall be extremely brief, because
Am I slightly trying to go now?
Yes.
You can stay as long as you like to.
You've got council business anyway.
Yeah, the minutes will be published anyway, so you go to see our comments.
Right.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone.
Chair,
Bye now.
with your permission, I'd like to be extremely brief and just mention something which is not on the agenda. I've received a discussion paper which looks as if I wrote it, but in fact I didn't. But it's about a proposal to create a Dean Valley partnership, which will create wildlife reserves and promote the cleaning up of footpaths and so on in the Dean Valley. And that discussion paper is available for anyone who cares to inspect it.
Thanks for bringing that to us.
Have you sent me a copy? Did you send me a copy?
I haven't.
No. It's represented now.
Okay, next agenda item then is 25095. This is the plan application 25 0576 CLPUD certificate. Oh, sorry, did I skip that? Okay, 25094 to approve and sign the minutes of the planning committee meeting of the 11th of March 2025. Does anyone have any issues with the minutes?
No.
No? Okay. Should we? Samson. Okay.
All in favour?
All in favour? Next agenda item, 25095, this is the plan application 250576 CLPUD, certificate of local use development. This is proposed certificate of local use development for proposed single-storey outbuilding to serve as an additional bedroom with WC facilities at 2 Stevenston Road, Hancock. So this is a certificate of local use development. So what that means is that it's confirmation that the existing and proposed use is lawful. It's not specific to planning permission. It's to confirm that planning permission is not required for the development. So development is for an outbuilding, which is in the rear garden of the applicant. It is a small building with, already messed up again. Yeah, it's an additional bedroom with toilet facilities. On my own inspection of my application, the outbuilding does appear to slightly be raised from the fence of neighbouring properties. Another thing to note on that is that a certificate of lawful use does not require neighbours to be notified of the proposed use, because it's to consider it if it's lawful without planning permission. I'll open that to any comments for councillors. Councillors, Mark?
It's already got planning, isn't it? Or outline.
Does this one have it?
Yeah, first two have both got planning or outline planning.
Okay.
To be honest, I hate that portal. It's worse than ever. I couldn't download half of the documents, and half of them are redacted. The other half, sorry, we can't have this. We can't look at it. It's pathetic, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It needs you to prove you're human now as well.
Sorry?
Yes.
It needs to prove you're human now.
On every page.
Yeah, it's a nightmare to navigate that portal, isn't it? Yeah, so do any councillors have any comments about the proposed, well, not the development, but the application? No?
I looked at it, Chair, similar to you, it's only slightly higher than the fence, so I can see no reason why it shouldn't go.
Yeah, upon just a sort of mini technical inspection, it does look like it does fall under permitted use. It's under 2.5 metres high. It is within 2 metres of the boundary, but again, at that height, that's unacceptable. I don't think it has any particular negative impacts on any members of the community or any neighbours. So I would suggest that we approve of not support. Yeah, we'll take no objection to the proposer. That's the one. Second, that's Simpson. Okay, that's approved. Not approved. Oh, all in favour? Right, there we go. I can get that eventually. Okay, next agenda item 25096 to consider planning application 250511 house, proposed single story rear extension to replace existing conservatory at 12 Finsbury Way, Anfield. Now this application is to replace a conservatory with a brick and mortar extension of a similar size. Upon inspection, there doesn't seem to be any sort of material considerations that would apply to that. There's no change. Other than, I suppose, a loss of glazing, which isn't unwelcome. Any council have any comments on the application? No? So I propose that we have no objection to the application. Don't like to propose. That's more. Any seconder? Myself. All in favour? Okay. So the next item is 250987 to consider plan application 250553 PIP permission in principle, planning in principle for the erection of one new dwelling at the land at 33 School Lane, Hanforth, with the retention of the existing dwelling and new associated landscaping, removal of a garage and existing single-storey flat roof extension to donor dwelling to accommodate new dwelling. So this is permission in principle. That's a relatively new planning, which is similar to outline planning permission. So in this case, the only thing that's actually being decided or determined is whether the principle of a two-storey dwelling at this location would be considered acceptable. It has received a few 4 comments in objection from members of the community. Those comments cover issues of loss of amenity, windows overlooking neighbours, increased congestion and parking concerns as a parking concerns for School Road. Homeowner inspection, I suppose it is, we have talked about similar developments as overdevelopment. However, I would say that the proposed development appears to be somewhat in character with the area. It's a 2-storey in an area that is primarily 2-storey developments. In terms of any lack of amenity, there's nothing that I can tell that's unlawful. There's a slight overshadow to the donor building in their front garden. But I think this presents itself as a sustainable opportunity to infill for infill development. So if any councillors have any comments on that?
No comments from me.
My only comment is, when you type it up and look at the application, it does say School Lane.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but hey, you corrected it.
Yeah. I will say, I've just forgot to mention, the parking concerns are definitely valid concerns for the community to have. And I would say that with this proposal, with both homes being, well, I can only assume to be 2 plus bedrooms, The Cheshire East planning, what's it called? Parking standards guidance would require that both dwellings have two dedicated parking spaces. So I think if anything, we should be minded to support this, but in the full technical details application, we should expect that 2 parking spaces, ideally off street, are provided to both of the homes affected by the planning permission. Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I think that's very important because since and this applies to 1 or 2 of these applications on here, since the charges have been put onto the car parks, there are more and more cars parking everywhere in Haverford, including, and I think the council need to do something about this, the little road just over the bridge that's the one-way system past the doctors, and they park all the way down that very narrow road. They park on School Road. They park everywhere. And I can fully understand why somebody would want to object to this because of parking, because it's an absolute nightmare now. Absolute nightmare. Cheshire needs to do something about it. And sort
I
it out.
noticed the other day an ambulance wouldn't be able to get down to Gwyneth Morley.
No.
You know, it couldn't
need to
possibly.
stop.
And that's entirely
need to
go the wrong
stop.
way down that
Yeah.
road. It couldn't do it.
I'm not sure. I know that bit van belongs to Network Rail, so I'm not sure, you know, what we can say.
Well, the other day I couldn't get up. I had to back up all the way back down to the health centre.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress, but yes, that's just a comment I'd like to make.
Any other comments on that then? I propose that we're minded to not support, no objection to the application.
I think previously parking standards guidance.
Yeah, so if we can just raise to Cheshire East that the proposed development should be in accordance with the parking standards.
Yeah.
I'll propose that. Would anyone like to second some more? All in favour? Okay. Next item, 25098, to consider planning application 250565 house, proposed front, single-storey front extension and rear extensions at 48 Road. So this application, it seems a fairly standard extension. The extension itself, in terms of character, virtually reflects the what can only seems to be a semi-detached house on the other side. So I suggest that we raise no objection to this. Any councillor have any comments?
No, me.
No. Okay, let's propose that we provide no objection to that application. The proposer? Well, second. Sampson. All in favour? Okay. One. That's 25099 to consider plan application 250706 full replacement of existing single-storey residential dwelling with 2 single-storey residential with new 2-storey storey residential dwelling. 23 Howard Road. And of course we had a member of the public who commented on this application, stating communities objections to this application. It has received 9 objections. In terms of development itself, it would be the only 2-storey dwelling on that side of the house. On the other side of the house, it's very much all bungalows with some with dormer extensions, but it is mostly single-storey bungalows. In my view, it does pose quite significant overshadowing issues on neighbouring properties. It would be simply out of character by nature of it being a 2-storey dwelling in an area of primarily bungalows. So I would suggest that we're minded to object to this application. Any councillor like a comment? Councillor Moore?
Yes, I fully empathise with all those comments by residents because I think it's a ludicrous application. It would look totally out of keeping, and that is one of the requirements for planning permission to be given consent. I can't imagine what it would look like with a row of bungalows and then this peculiar thing stuck in the middle. Apart from the fact that you've got adjoining party walls, which cause issues anyway, I can't imagine knocking the thing down and what kind of implications that would have for the neighbours on either side, because they are linked bungalows. Apart from that, the bungalows are put there for a specific reason. We don't have many bungalows in Homeporth. They are there for a specific reason, and I think we should protect that reason. It would set a dangerous precedent, I think, to put a two-storey building there. Look, totally out of keeping. I object fully to it.
Any other comments?
I think the point there that we're a classic one where you set precedents for developers. Buy a cheap bungalow and build a house. Great return on your investment, and suddenly, potentially, you'll lose a lot of bungalows.
It is a developer, isn't it? It's not an individual.
It's hard to
Well, either way.
It decided on
Sure,
an
the
access statement,
application
so it's
should
quite. In that case, I propose that we object to the development on the grounds of the design, by the nature of its two-storey design, being unsympathetic to the character of the area and to the street scene. It would be considered overlarge and obtrusive. It would be in conflict with policies SE1 of the local plan, Gen 1 and HOW 11 of the site location development management policies, and it would be in conflict with policy H11 of neighbourhood plan. Let's propose that, we might second that. Councillor Moore, all in favour? Next item, 250910, to consider the planning application 250635 house, conversion of gym to form habitable accommodation with new window to include the addition of a single-storey extension to the rear of the existing dwellings, 6 right close. With this application, as it says, it's a rear extension and some interior remodelling. The rear extension appears to be within permitted development anyway, but the front extension would be the conversion of garage into a habitable space. Now, looking into this, the original plan application for the homes, under condition 5, states that the garages indicated on the approved plan shall be retained for parking of motor vehicles and cycles. They shall at no time be converted to living accommodation without prior express permission of the local planning authority. With this in mind, the development would reduce the number of car parking spaces to 1 from 2 for a dwelling that's 2 or above bedrooms. I think in that case, if any council got any comments on that?
I've got no objection.
My only comment, no objection to the change in the garage, but this property, number 6, is in the middle of a terrace house, yeah?
Yeah.
But there's no access round the back. How are we going to get the builders and contractors and equipment round the back garden to build this? I have no idea.
That's a good point. I think with that in mind then,
I would certainly recommend an objection to it.
anyone else an objection?
Well, if that's the case,
Yeah. So in that case, suppose that we object to the application on grounds that part of the difficulty of the development of the rear extension, also with the loss of parking spaces, which is not in accordance with the local plan parking guidance. Anyone like to propose? Second? That's more, all in favour? Okay. Next item, to consider plan application 250663 house, part retrospective application for works to driveway, garden fence, garden wall, new outbuilding and landscaping works to rear garden, including new pond, 68 Woodlands Road. So for this development, is what appears to be the relocation of an outbuilding, repositioning mostly, and the erection of a what's it called? the boundary treatment on the front garden of the property. Doesn't appear to be too much conflict with any neighbours or any local plan policies. Does any council have any comments? That's the one.
Yes, can I have my usual whinge, please, about people doing things before they're asking planning permission? I'm sick and tired of seeing applications on here where people have already started the work, it goes to Cheshire East don't do anything about it because, let's face it, they can't, and people just do what they like, carte blanche, whatever they want to do, and hope that nothing will happen, and in most cases, nothing does happen. And I object entirely, so I object to the whole thing, quite frankly. But on that reason, that basis alone, I'm tired of people pushing the boundaries.
Any other comments?
When looking at the plans, the rear garden is longer than the other gardens. Now, have they robbed land from whoever owns the land there?
You're back to Jones again, aren't you? Possibly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've looked into this application, and the garden doesn't infringe on the ancient woodland like the other application. So it's any issue of ownership would be one that should be raised to the council. Yeah, if anyone has any comments on that. No.
Back again into the thing we raised last time, that some have covenants, definitely. Now, where this one has, we don't know.
You don't know.
Where you can't build on it.
Well, the thing is, as we discussed before, covenant isn't something we can discuss in terms of whether we agree with the principle of a development or not. So that isn't something that we should take into account for this decision. With that in mind, it is important to consider any environmental impacts of the development and any ownership issues. I suppose there aren't any to consider specifically for this one. So I propose that, can we object to something on the grounds that it's already started? I think we can. Yeah, no. I don't think there's any issues in terms of community dispute. So I propose that we raise no objection but comment on the fact that we would appreciate if this get planning permission before the development has started. Let's propose that. Is any seconder? Councillor Sampson, all in favour?
Abstentions?
2.
Carries.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Agenda item 2509-12 to consider any other planning application received by the Town Council outside of the deadline for publication. We have not received any, so we'll bypass that. Then close the meeting at 19:03.